Today, we're jumping into a frantic, high-stakes sprint to build what could be the next fundamental layer of the internet, a digital identity system for, get this, trillions of AI agents. In this whole story, it all starts with a pretty desperate plea for help from a single founder.
You see a quote like this pulled from a real job ad, and it just perfectly captures that unhinged, win-at-all-costs energy of the tech world right now. But, it also shows you the kind of insane pressure someone must be under to even think of saying something like that.
And then, behind all that bravado, you find this. Just a raw, desperate plea from a solo founder. This is the real, human side of the AI gold rush. One person trying to do something huge, completely against the odds. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. We're going to look at this founder's mission, dive into the wild world of internet domains, watch their all-out sprint against the clock, see the outreach blitz and the regulatory nightmare they're facing, and then we'll ask the biggest question of all, who's actually going to own the internet's roads for AI? So, the whole story revolves around this plan to create a new top-level domain. Like .com or .org. But this one would be built from the ground up specifically for artificial intelligence, a new digital home for all the AIs of the future.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. The vision here is way bigger than just tech. The idea is to take all the money that comes from registering these AI identities and use it to fund a global universal basic income. It's a pretty radical concept, right? To have the automation economy itself directly pay for a human safety net.
But you can't just build a new road for the internet. First, you have to navigate the incredibly complex and honestly super frustrating world of internet governance. And that entire world is basically run by one very powerful and often very bureaucratic organization called ICANN. Think of them as the gatekeepers. They're the ones who decide who gets to build what on the internet and who doesn't. And ICANN has some very, very strict rules. Every single domain ending is sorted into these categories, and getting a new one approved is just this grueling, painful process, especially if you're a solo founder without a ton of resources. So now, let's get into the action plan itself. And this is not a marathon, okay? It's an all-out, full-throttle sprint against a clock that just does not stop ticking. I mean, the opening line of the plan says it all. For this founder, the time for brainstorming and dreaming is long gone. With deadlines breathing down their neck, every single second is about one thing: execution. It's a mindset of pure, relentless action. And this just shows you the insane pressure cooker they're in. We're talking about these huge make-or-break deadlines stacked just days apart, a critical partnership call, then a financial submission to the regulators, and then the main application window opens. There is literally zero room for error. The plan details what it calls 3 fire drills for just this 1 week. And these aren't just important to-dos, they are completely non-negotiable. If you miss one, the whole thing falls apart. They have to prove they've got the money by sending in their personal retirement statements, find a lawyer who will work for free from a tiny list of 31 people, and absolutely nail a pitch to a key partner. The pressure is just immense. So with that clock ticking away, you can't just focus on paperwork. The next phase is this simultaneous multi-front outreach blitz. This is really where that desperate "I need help" plea gets turned into a full-on action plan. And the key thing to see here is that this is not just about finding money. No. The founder needs technical partners, they need validation from Web3 players, they need philosophical alignment with AI leaders, and even buy-in from AI safety organizations. Every single one of these conversations is a critical piece of a very, very complex puzzle. But here's the kicker. Even if you get every single partner lined up, even if you raise every dollar you need, you still have to face the biggest obstacle of them all: ICANN's dense, complicated, unforgiving rulebook. So the founder's original vision was this simple, elegant domain, .ia. Perfect, right? For intelligent agents. Well, it hits a complete brick wall. ICANN rules strictly prohibit any new 2-letter domains. It seems like a simple rule, but it's one that could completely derail the entire project. So that one single rule forces a complete strategic pivot. The dream of IA is dead, at least for now. But, this setback also forces some creativity, pushing the founder to explore other names that can still carry the mission forward, like .agent or .agi. And all of this, the sprint, the desperation, the regulatory hurdles, it all boils down to one fundamental, massive question about the future of AI.
Think about it. As the internet has evolved, we've built identity systems for every layer. Humans, we have domain names. Servers have IP addresses. Websites have security certificates. But for this coming wave of literally trillions of AI agents, there is a huge, glaring gap, a missing layer.
And you know, nature abhors a vacuum. With this huge missing piece, you've got established giants who are already perfectly positioned to fill that gap. Companies like Identity Digital, who already manage almost 300 top-level domains, are the obvious frontrunners to build and own this new layer.
It's like that old saying, right? In a gold rush, the people who really win are the ones selling the picks and shovels. This race isn't just about building the coolest AI. It's about owning the fundamental infrastructure, the digital shovels that all other AIs are going to depend on just to exist. And the implications of that are enormous.
And this leaves all of us with a really critical choice about the future that we're building. Is the identity system for the entire AI economy going to be owned and operated for private profit? Or are we going to fight to build it as a global public utility, designed from day one to benefit all of humanity?
And that choice is really at the heart of this founder's desperate sprint. It's this belief that we have a very brief, rapidly closing window to make a conscious decision about our digital future before the powerful systems we're building start designing us instead.